Okay, welcome in guys. Welcome to a very different video. This is my initial impressions on New World, the MMORPG that is being developed by Amazon. It recently had its open beta, something I definitely jumped in on, and I had a really good time with it. But yeah, I just thought, like, obviously the stream is there. If I can figure out tags on YouTube, I'll tag the actual VOD of the stream. The stream was my very first encounter with the game, but the footage that is being shown here is what I played after the stream the next day, because I wanted to see what the town was like. I wanted to see what the crafting was like and all that. And what I'll do is I'll go through, just as I said, my thoughts now that I'm not like trying to interact with chat at the same time, and what I like, what I don't like about the game, and yeah, what I hope to do more with New World in the future. So let's start off with the basics. What is New World? New World, as I said, is an MMORPG. It has all the sort of elements of that. You know, obviously you got your players running around everywhere, all looking the same in the starting hub. You've got your sort of essentially an infinite XP curve. Obviously, that you're going to get to the end of it, but there's always going to be more to do. Hopefully, you've got your skills. You've got your combat sort of encounters. You've got harvesting, crafting. You've got a lot of elements in this game that make up a lot of other MMORPGs. What New World, I think, does really well, and this is in lines with Terra, if you've ever played Terra before, is it has a very action-focused combat style. A lot of reactive movements, blocking, dodging, attacking, like an action RPG, or as I said, Terra uses that quite well. You do have abilities, you do have your sort of skills, kind of like, again, like an action RPG, but instead of like clicking like your number 1 key, your 2 key, your 3 key, you got your Q, you got your R, and you got I think it's F is the other key. Very much like like Dota or what's the other one? Damn it, why can I never remember the other one? I played too much Dota and Dota 2 in my past, so that's kind of the one I'm thinking of right now. But its combat and ability style reminds me of an action RPG fused with Dota. That's kind of like where I sort of sit it at, which honestly, it works. In Melee, it works really well. I think I need to play more to get more in sort of focused on my dodging and my blocking mechanics, but that's just timing. The only sort of... but yeah, all that feels good. So you just want to start off with, the combat feels really good. When it works, and it works really well. The only thing that I think feels a little rough, and again, I think this is only initial impressions, I do need to sort of look at it a bit more, is ranged. Ranged combat, I think, is a little too pinpoint. It requires you to have accuracy. And I know it's a mouse keyboard game. People who play FPSs with a mouse, they're used to having their pinpoint accuracy. Those of us who regularly use controllers, like myself included, we don't do well with that sort of pinpoint accuracy. I rely on controller assist to be able to actually hit my opponents, especially in an MMO. Even against environment, even in PvE, I like to have that little bit of assist. So I feel like, especially with the magic attacks, because I was using the ice gauntlets primarily, I feel like if you click and your cursor is on the enemy, that attack should home to the enemy. Honestly, I do feel like, as if I use my own design knowledge and how I feel about the combat, I think honestly that would feel a lot better, because if I swipe with a melee weapon and the enemy's in range, I'll hit the enemy. But if I aim at the enemy with my ranged attack, I don't hit the enemy because the enemy's moving. I have to lead the shot, and leading the shot doesn't feel good in MMOs, so I do think they need to look at range combat and maybe tweak that just a little bit. But, I mean, obviously, Amazon's probably not going to look at this video, but hey, look, that's just my 2 cents. But overall, the combat was really, really enjoyable. I fought a couple of bosses, a couple of boss level enemies. Well, I fought like 2 boss level enemies, and they were struggles, but they were fun. Correct timing on dodges felt really nice. Getting the abilities off, like with my... well, I'll go into abilities later, but like when I chained my abilities together in the right way, they felt really good. So yeah, combat, I think, big tick for me. Now, MMOs aren't just about the combat, they're about the skills and the leveling and the experience of progression, and New World does this really, really well as well. So essentially, if you do something in New World, there is a progression tree for it. Doesn't matter what it is. Actually, I lie. If there's No, I was going to say walking around doesn't have a progression tree, but unlocking the map is a progression tree in its own right. So yes, I think everything in the game so far that I have encountered has its own progression tree. You're attacking an enemy with a rapier. Your rapier is leveling up. Oh, you find a really cool sword and shield. You pick that up. Immediately when you start using it on enemies, your sword and shield starts leveling up. Every weapon has its own tech tree. There are no classes in New World. It is all based on your weaponry. Doesn't matter if you try a new weapon and you're at max level. You can level that weapon to max. The only thing that would sort of like not play into it well is your stat distribution, because you do have stats. You do distribute the stats yourself, and that can impact how the weapons, how potent the weapons are. So obviously you will make builds, but that being said, theoretically, your builds are infinite, which is fantastic. But more on like the progression side of things, I kind of got distracted there. If you see a rock, you want to mine some stone, mine some ore, there's a progression tree for that. You see a tree, you cut it down, there's a progression tree for logging. You're going to skin a boar, there's a progression tree for skinning and tracking. You see herbs. I know a lot of games have those skills, but it feels so natural in New World because the whole premise of New World is that you're colonizing a new world. It feels so natural. It actually feels like you're in a survival game. And those progression trees are all visible from the start, which is a fantastic idea. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've done something in an MMO and they've gone, oh, you've done this, but you can't see like what your reward is or what your end result would be until you progress to like level 20, sort of thing. And it's like, oh, well, why would I do it until then? What I love about New World, is that it shows you everything from the get-go. Not in an overwhelming way. It's only there if you go looking for it. But if you explore your tabs, you find your skill trees and you go, wow, if I'm like, here's what I have access to. Here's all the things that I can work on, grind on, and end up doing in New World. And I think that's fantastic. I think showing players what is possible within the MMO from the get-go is a great idea. It really entices the player to play more. So in terms of its progression trees, the skills that you unlock, there is so much there. If you're a fan of just seeing the numbers tick up on all your progression trees, you're going to love New World. It's made for you. Hopefully the footage is reflecting that. There's just so much of it there. In terms of audio, I had a few audio glitches. I'm not going to focus too much on audio, but the music was nice. That was really, really good. It was an open beta, so that's why audio glitches I don't really care for. It doesn't really matter to me. But what I will say is that the audio feedback on like your crafting and resource acquisition and just the combat in general is really, really good. You can tell that a lot of effort has been put into the New World's audio. I don't know, I can't really like show you it, but the audio I think is really, really nice. I'm a big fan of the feedback that they give you. It really gets that little, like Final Fantasy has that da 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 da, which is a long-winded one, and that invokes a bit of nostalgia in a lot of people. But like it's funny. I was describing it to chat when I was talking about making this video, and I was like, New World has a lot of wub-wubs and a lot of dings, but they're really nice wub-wubs and dings. They trigger the part of my brain, part of my monkey brain that goes, ooh, I like that sound. That's a good sound. How did I make that sound happen? Oh, I crafted this and I leveled this up. That's how I make that sound. I'm going to go craft more things and get that sound again. That's pretty much like what the game was doing. And honestly, I really appreciate it. I think it was really good. I think it was really clever of them to do. So yeah, this has been like a really short video, but honestly, it doesn't have to be much longer than this. Long story short, if you're a fan of MMOs and you're a fan of MMOs with long-term progression, there's a lot more to this game than what I've described. I didn't even get to talk about like map exploration and how like the different zones interact with each other in terms of like players interacting with the zone, which then impacts how the zone impacts other players. Because I didn't really experience that. I know other players in my Discord did experience that a bit, and they would have more info, but obviously I didn't get to that point because I'm saving my gameplay for the main game. But like, I know there's a lot more to this MMO than I've seen, and I'm really excited. If you're a fan of MMOs that have a lot to do, infinite amounts to do, infinite things for you to progress on, and yes, there is housing as well. I did forget to note that, but there is housing as well. I think you're going to really enjoy New World. It's not as high fantasy as Final Fantasy or Terra or WoW, but I think it's definitely gonna... I think it's gonna make a bit of a splash. How long and how large that splash is, I don't know. I mean, everyone wants to know, is it a WoW killer? I don't think anything's a WoW killer. I think that game is where it is. I don't think it's ever going to leave. I think it is declining, but I don't think it's going to leave. Could it ruffle Final Fantasy XIV's feathers? I don't think so, but because I think that game is their community and following is too strong. But I do think there is a place for New World within the MMO community, and I look forward to playing more. So yeah, it gets a big tick from the open beta from AussieDevFro. Whether that means anything, I don't know. Maybe you can put like, if you get a copy, like a physical copy of New World, you can write on the box, tick of AussieDevFro approval, and then it might mean something. Yeah, do that. Anyone's watching this video, if you get a physical copy of New World, make sure you do that. I'll feel good about it then. Thanks for listening to me ramble, guys. Make sure you put your comments below on what you think about New World if you played it. If this video has helped you in any way decide to like play it or not, also let me know. I'd appreciate it. Make sure you like the video, and yeah, I'll see you when I see you. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video today. Hope you had a good time. I know I sure did. Please do consider commenting below parts of the video that you liked or didn't like. Helps me out when making future content. Also, please remember I am live on Twitch 5 nights a week, and you can find the link in the description below. Alrighty, have a good one, guys.